So welcome to our discussion of Kavod Shabbos. Kavod Shabbos is a little pun. I think I'm not the only one who's using it these days. Kavod Shabbos is the way in Ashkenazic pronunciation we pronounce Kavod Shabbat, the honor of Shabbat, the notion of honoring Shabbos. So I want to talk about that today, what it means to honor Shabbos. I'm going to share my screen with you. I have a sheet prepared for you about Kavod Shabbos. So first, we begin, of course, with this week's parsha. We always want to start with the parsha. It's all about the holidays. This week's parsha is Emor, and it speaks of all the holidays. And Rishon Mikra Kodesh. Every Friday night, we say it's the first of the holidays. What does that mean? That in Parshat Emor and in other parshiot, like Pinchas, Shabbos comes first. It says, "Speak to the Israelite people and say to them, these are my fixed times of the Lord, Modeh Hashem, which you should proclaim as Mikra Kodesh, holy occasions. On 6 days you shall work, on the 7th day it shall be Sabbath of complete rest. Sacred occasion, you shall do no work. So it's a Shabbat Sabbath of Sabbaths. But it's really in Isaiah where we find out more about the depth of the Torah. One rabbi once said, I think it was maybe Rabbi Shalom, that the role of the prophets is not to make any new laws. God forbid, they're not allowed to make any new laws. A prophet can't start making new laws. Moses made all the laws, but they can explain the depth of the law. And so Isaiah brings out the depth of what Shabbos really is. And it's Isaiah 58. We read it as a Haftorah on Yom Kippur, and it's introduction for Kiddush on Shabbos morning for Hasidim, for Sephardic Jews. I'll read it for you the way it sounds in Sephardic, introduction to Kiddush, the Sephardic Haftarah. Im tashiv mi Shabbat raglecha, atzod chavatzecha biyom kodshi, v'karata la Shabbat rohonek, likdosh Adonai mechubad, v'chibeto me'asot drachecha, mimetzor cheftecha v'daber davar. If you refrain from trampling on the Shabbos, what does that mean? We'll talk about it. From pursuing your affairs on my holy day, what does that mean? If you call the Sabbath a delight, that's called Oneg Shabbos. Oneg. People sometimes have a little gathering on Shabbos, they call it an Oneg. And the Lord's a holy day honored. So that's what we're going to talk about, the honor of Shabbos. And if you honor it and do not your way and go not your ways, nor look to your affairs, nor strike bargains, then you will delight on the Lord. Az titanagal Hashem, then you will delight on the Lord, and you will seek the favor of the Lord, and He will set astride you. He'll put you on the heights of the earth, and He will let you enjoy the heritage of Father Jacob. There's great reward for keeping Shabbos, whether in this world or in the next world. So what does it mean, the honor of Shabbos? You call Shabbos a delight to the honored one of God, which is Shabbos, honored. To the Holy One of God, honored. What does it mean to honor? So it's interesting to note what commentators, without the Talmud, the rabbis know the Talmud, but on their own, just to interpret the simple meaning of the text, I think they interpret it very differently from how the rabbis interpret it, how we're going to talk about it today. Ibn Ezra, for instance, he says that you will not work on it. He says to the Sabbath is a delight by not working. And your soul shall rejoice by reading the words of the Torah. That's what you would think. How do you honor the Shabbos? By doing something spiritual. We'll have a special Shabbos class, and we'll learn Torah all Shabbos. That's what it means to honor Shabbos. Ibn Ezra is consistent. He says when God blessed the Shabbos, what does God do to bless the Shabbos? In Genesis, he said, well, you can think of better ideas on Shabbos. You come up with new ideas on Shabbos. It's all about spiritual kind of things. By the way, hint, that is not how the rabbis interpret it. He goes on, the Sabbath, the words which follow explain the meaning. He says, which they were accustomed to do your ways. The same idea is contained in the words daber davar, speaking thereof. You don't want to speak about future things, worldly affairs. That's true. The rabbi said you shouldn't talk about weekday things. Tomorrow I'm going to mow the lawn. Tomorrow I'll pay you $100. We don't talk about that on Shabbos. We're not going to focus on that today, but that's daber davar. That's the idea of not speaking weekly things you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. We don't talk about on Shabbos. The Malbim, who's very much of a Talmudist, but he doesn't really talk about it either. He says, oneg, oneg misibat Shabbat. Whatever you enjoy, it should be for Shabbos. The honor should be for Shabbos. If you wear a beautiful suit on Shabbos, it should be for God, etc. But then he says, don't do your things, your physical honor, only your spiritual honor. That is not how the rabbis interpret it. The rabbis very much interpreted that the oneg of Shabbos is to enjoy the Shabbos in a physical way. But he says your oneg should not just be a physical one. So anyway, so naturally, if you were a spiritualist, you would say, oh, Sabbath should be a day for spirit. And what do we Jews say? Kugel, Cholent, Kichel, right? It's Shabbos is a day for enjoying our special ethnic foods and non-ethnic foods that we enjoy on the Shabbos. The Gemara in Shabbos, of course, most authoritatively, they say, the Talmud says, what does it mean to honor? It's about garments. Your weekday clothes should not be the same as your Shabbos clothes. It's very challenging. Those of us, the Talmud talks about if you have a beautiful wardrobe, maybe every day you dress to kill, So what do you do on Shabbos? Maybe you have to have a special Shabbos suit. So then can you wear that for a wedding? You say, yeah, I only wear it for special occasions, Shabbos and a wedding. But you don't want to just wear the same thing you wear every day for Shabbos. And that's like Rabbi Yochanan. He said, my garments are my honor. That gives me honor. My garments in general honor. So when the Torah says honor, it means garments. That's one interpretation. We'll see more. Don't do your deeds. Don't walk on Shabbos the way you walk on Shabbos on a weekday. Don't do your plain deeds. Excuse me. That's covered Shabbos. Anyway, so you should think about holy things, not so much weekday things. Don't speak idle words on Shabbos. Okay. Also, another Gemara on Shabbos, the Reish Galusa, who wasn't always the holiest person in the world, the head of the community, he said to Rav Hamnuna, what does it mean that the Holy One of God should be honored? So he said to him, that's Yom Kippur. So that's interesting that it could be Yom Kippur, but there's no eating or drinking. Torah said you should. How do you honor Yom Kippur? It's also Shabbos. How do you honor it? And that's why we read that passage as the Haftorah on Yom Kippur. What does it mean to honor if you can't eat? How do you honor it? Sus Nikiya, beautiful, clean clothing, and also it means you should start Yom Kippur a little bit early, end a little bit later. So Rav Papa says, the children of Rav Papa said to Rav Papa, we're kind of wealthy people. We have meat all the time, wine all the time. How can we make it different on Shabbos? He says, well, if you're used to having an early meal, make it later. If you're used to having a late meal, have it earlier. Do something different. That's part of honoring Shabbos, is to do it a little differently. Et cetera, et cetera. He says at the end, Rav Sheshet would seat the sages where the sun would reach. In the winter, he would seat the sages where the shade would reach. In this way, they would quickly after the lecture ended, he did not engage in discussion, which would detract from the time devoted to lighting Shabbos. Good. You do it a little differently. Make things a little different. What about the Rambam? The Rambam, of course, is the expert in codifying, telling us what the Talmud really means. And he says, look, there are 4 things that have been enjoined on Shabbos. 2 are biblical authority, and 2 on the authority of the prophets. The biblical ones, we know from the 10 Commandments. Zachor Yom HaShabbos L'Kadro, remember the Sabbath. Shamor Yom HaShabbos L'Kadro, observe the Shabbos. But the prophets clearly speak of honor and delight. Call this. So what does it mean? So the Rambam is going to define for us. That's his job. What is honor? So he says, the sages explain each person should wash his face, hands and feet with hot water on Friday. Right? You can take a whole shower. It's even better, but certainly your hands and feet. And those days they were more barefoot, so they had to wash their feet. Anyway, hot water. So the idea of a hot shower. What about it in the 9 days? So usually we're lenient on the 9 days. We only take a cold shower. But there were those who thought, no, for Shabbos, you can always take a hot shower. And then wrap yourself. Now, it's interesting. Does that mean a hat? Does that mean put the talis over your head? Does it mean to wear a big kippah? Or is wrapping mean garments? Anyway, in fringe garment, he thinks you should wear talis and be seated with dignity and expectation of the Shabbos. There are some people at the Kotel who wear talis Friday night. And get ready for Shabbos. Receiving it as we're coming to meet the king. Asher gave a shir about this, that we talk about Shabbos the bride, but it's also Shabbos the king. The ancient sages used to assemble their disciples on Friday, put on their best clothes and say, come, let us meet the Shabbos. So it's not only about wearing beautiful special clothes for Shabbos, it's also about anticipating the Shabbos. Honor of Shabbos means to honor it as if Shabbos is a special guest that's coming. we honor the Shabbos by wearing clean clothes, says the Rambam. One must wear not weekday apparel on the Sabbath. But if he does not have additional set of clothing, he should lower the garment. Now, take down your sleeves, unfold the collar, do something different. Put up your collar like a mobster. Do something rather. If you only have one set of clothing, so it shouldn't be like the week. And Ezra, the great sage, who at the beginning of the Second Temple, ordained the people should wash their clothes on Thursday, in account of the honor of the coming of Shabbos. So notice that a lot of it has to do with preparation. Get into that in a second. Now, and therefore, in deference to Shabbos, part of the honor of Shabbos is not to make a big meal on Friday. Don't go out with your friends to Holy Cow or whatever on Friday after about 2:00. It's not appropriate. Don't have a big meal on Friday afternoon. It's part of the honor of Shabbos. You say, how can you honor Shabbos on Friday? Yes, it's part of it is getting ready. So you shouldn't have a regular meal that afternoon. Once you prepare, you spread out your table on Friday, even if it requires no more than an olive's worth of food. Let's say you're not hungry, you're sickly, elderly. You just can have a piece of melon. You have challah, piece of melon. Set the table as if like the king is coming in honor of Shabbos. Maybe you're poor, you don't have anything else. Set the table as if you're a wealthy person. One should set the house in order on Friday before sunset in honor of Shabbos, and the candles should be lit. So now we learn that the lighting of candles is part of the honor of Shabbos. The table spread, you have to put the tablecloth on before Shabbos starts. And the bed properly arranged to make the bed is part of honoring the Shabbos. Now, so that's all in terms of honoring. There's also something else called Oneg Shabbos. So the Rambam writes, just as one should keep so there's also something called enjoying Shabbos. And the Rambam writes about having fatty meats. Today we don't like fatty meats, but in those days to have a really fatty piece of meat, that would be really honoring the Shabbos. That would be really super duper. So now we want to understand what's the difference in these two words. Isaiah said you should honor the Sabbath and you should call it an oneg, an enjoyment. What's the difference between enjoying it and honoring it? So the Meiri says that it's very simple. That just as one would keep the oneg Shabbos with eating and drinking, so he thinks that oneg Shabbos, the eating and the drinking, so must you honor it with the clean clothes and other beautification. He thinks the beautiful clothes, getting dressed for Shabbos, is part of honoring Shabbos. So if you run out of work and you run right into Shabbos and you say, well, I'm still wearing my nice suit from work, that's not honoring Shabbos. You have to change something. Put on a new tie. Do something to honor the Shabbos. Wash your face with hot water. Do something before Shabbos to get ready for Shabbos. Generally, preparing for Shabbos, we take a shower in the middle of the afternoon. We put on new clothes. There's a story of a Hasidic Rabbi who said, hi, Shabbos started, but I don't feel special. What's the problem? What did I do wrong? I took a shower. I took a bath. I changed my clothes. What's going on? Then he realized that he was wearing his Vachadika Hoizen. I don't know, maybe he was wearing his weekday pants or his weekday underwear, his weekday socks, or something like that. He was wearing something from the weekday. He forgot to change one piece of clothing. That's what it means to really honor the Shabbos. Everything's different. Even your socks, you change for Shabbos. But at least it's wears a new garment, a new dress. Now, some people would say, yeah, but if on Friday night I have to wear a dress, I feel, or a suit, I feel a little constrained. So we're going to see in a minute, is it subjective or is it objective? So the Meiri thinks the difference between kavod Shabbos, and oneg is that one is clothing, that's honor, and oneg is the beautiful meal. The Vilna Gaon says no. If you look in the Rambam, most of the things he said about kavod, that's before Shabbos, Erev Shabbos. Kavod Shabbos means to prepare before Shabbos. Oneg Shabbos is to enjoy it on Shabbos. What about the Shabbos candles? Are the Shabbos candles enjoyment because, tell me, what is the honoring of, what is lighting candles? Is it enjoying on Shabbos or is it preparing before Shabbos? What do you think? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
I don't think it would be part of Shabbos because by lighting the candles, we bring Shabbos in.
Well, wait a second. Now you're saying it brings it in. So it's a third stage. It's sort of the bringing in of Shabbos. Wait, but first you said it was part of Shabbos.
That was what I thought.
It was part of Shabbos because, but you do it before Shabbos. oh, when you make the bracha, then you say, I'm accepting Shabbos now. The women have a custom that when they light the candles, they say, now after I light the candles, I accept the Shabbos. Okay, so that's a sort of a third thing. It sort of slides us into Shabbos. Yeah, that's very interesting how women have that custom to, am I lighting the candles? Now it's Shabbos, after I lit the candles. Good. Anybody else?
I mean, I would say COVID Shabbos. I mean, it just said COVID is on Erev Shabbos, and it would seem to me we can't light the candles on Shabbos, so it would seem to me that it's the COVID.
Right. So that's what it would seem. It's before Shabbos. On the other hand, when you get to a beautiful Shabbos table, what's part of it? The candles, the atmosphere. So you light them before Shabbos, but when do you enjoy them?
On Shabbos.
On Shabbos. So it could be that there's an element of both. The Beis Halevi, Rabbi Salvation's great-grandfather said it's both. Now, if it's both, what about on Yontif? Sometimes you're running, you're preparing, you got to make the challenge, and you got to make the kiddush, and it's a 2-day Yontif, it's a 3-day Yontif, and you have to put the challenge, and you have to put the kugel, and you have to put the challah, and you have to put up the chicken, and you have so many things. You have to take a shower, and you have to cut your hair, and you have to shave, and you have to take right? And it's Erev Yontif. You say, wait a second, it's Yontif. Relax. I have a pilot on my stove, or I'll light a yurtside candle, and I can light the candles when I'm finished with everything else. I'll light the candles. Or do you say no? Just like on Shabbos, you have to light the Shabbos candles before Shabbos, because you can't light candles on Shabbos. On Yontif also, even though you could use a pre-existing flame, and in fact, on the second day Yontif, we always light candles after Yontif began, because you don't want to light candles on one day for the next day. So you light it after the second day has begun. What about on the first night of Yontif, first day of the Seder? Could I light the candles after Yontif started? Who cares? You're allowed to use a pre-existing flame. Does it make a difference? Can anyone think, what's the story? Is there any preference on Yontif to light the candles before Yontif?
I thought you had to do it after Yontif starts because it would be after the time for Havdalah for Shabbos, but I could be wrong.
Right. On the second day, right? If Yontif falls right after Shabbos, there's no question. You can't violate Shabbos by lighting the candles. You have to wait till Shabbos is over. So then you have to when are you lighting it? On Yontif. If you have 2 days Yontif, let's say during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, so then the first day is over. You have to wait for the first day to be over because you don't want to light the candles on one day to prepare for the next day. So you have to stop one day, wait for that day to be over, and then you light it on the second day. The question is, what about the first night? If I have an existing flame, I could light it. There's no question. I could light the candles after Yontif started. Is there any preference in lighting the candles before Yontif starts? Does it make a difference?
Well, because of the honor.
Oh, correct. So Debbie is correct. If you don't light the candles before Yontif, you may be making a beautiful table and you'll enjoy Yontif, but you're not honoring Yontif because you didn't have it set before Yontif. So very good. So that's why it's better to light it before. Now, Tani once wrote an article about this, that oneg can be subjective. How I enjoy, don't tell me how to enjoy shalosh seudos. If you're telling me that I have to have 2 loaves of bread and I have to have a nice piece of fish and whatever, and I'm stuffed to the gills, that is ridiculous. I'm going to stuff my mouth because it's a mitzvah to enjoy Shabbos. I get sick if I eat all that gefilte fish at shalosh seudos. So that could be subjective. The enjoyment of Shabbos could be subjective. However, you know what can't be subjective? The honor. If I say, you know what? I'm tired as a dog. I've been working all week. I'm just going to leave the table blank, and I'll leave all the newspapers on the table and all the junk and the dishes from 3 days ago. And that's, for me, that's to enjoy Shabbos because I'm so tired. Is that subjective? Can that be the honor? The honor of Shabbos for Joel Finkelstein, since he's tired, is that his table looks like a hurricane, right? That doesn't make sense. You can't have honor. You can't honor subjectively. You can't say for me, wearing my jeans and a t-shirt would be honor. That might be enjoyment, right? I might enjoy walking around in jeans all Shabbos, but it's not the honor of Shabbos. Now, this COVID Shabbos becomes very important in this COVID disease, in this COVID era, because when I come to shul Friday night at the Anshei or Shabbos morning at the Anshei, and I'm wearing my best suit, let's face it, part of it is because, I want the rabbi to look good, I'm not a rabbi of the shul. I have to look, I have to wear a nice tie. But on COVID Shabbos, when I have COVID and I'm stuck in my house, and it's me and my 2 kids and my wife, right? Maybe I can wear my worst suit. Oh, so now we really have an opportunity. When I take out my best suit and I'm wearing down my best suit on a COVID Shabbos, that's really COVID Shabbos. Because there's only one reason I'm wearing my best suit. It's the honor of Shabbos. Bluma won't care. My wife won't care. My kids won't care if I wear my worst suit. But it's COVID Shabbos. I'm going to wear my best suit, even though hardly anybody can see me. Now, so as I said, oneg, enjoyment could be subjective. If you don't feel like eating, if you get stomach aches, you could eat a small amount. If you can't eat shalashut, it could be argued. As a matter of fact, in the olden days, people would feel better. They had a bad dream to fast all day. That would make them feel good. So for them, that would be enjoying Shabbos. But to set the table on Friday night, that's objective. It has to be a beautiful table. That's objective. That's what Rambam said. If you only feel like eating a radish, you still have to set the table. That's objective. The Talmud in Peah addresses the notion of how you honor Shabbos. It says you have to have 2 different atifin, 2 different wraps. One wrap for Shabbos, one wrap for the weekday. I don't know, maybe 2 talis, 2 suits. And they learn it from Ruth, which is coming up. We're going to have a class on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. We're going to have a class on Ruth this month, starting this Tuesday night. And they bring fruit from Ruth. Naomi said to Ruth, get dressed, anoint yourself with perfume, and put your clothes on. So the rabbis say, what do you mean? Of course she has to put her clothes on. What is she telling you to put her clothes on? Says, no, you got to wear Shabbos thicker clothes, different clothes. So we see that there's a special Shabbos clothes. And that's what the rabbi said. He came out in public and he said, so the people said to him, but we always wear the same thing. So he says, well, you should make something different. Do something different. If let's say you're a Shiva Bacher, you always wear the uniform, you wear your hat and your jacket, so make it a little different, change your tie, something like that. Now, here's a very important question that this will be a little shocking to some people. It's an interesting question. Let's say you say, look, I have a limited budget, I have a limited stomach. I want to buy some nice steaks for Shabbos. I could eat the steak on Friday night, or you can eat the steak on Shabbos morning. Now let's put aside the question of how you warm it up and stuff like that. Let's say you could have delicious steaks on Friday night and delicious steaks on Shabbos afternoon for lunch. Where should you have the delicious steaks? Friday night or Shabbos? How many people are under the impression that the Friday night meal should be more beautiful than the Shabbos meal? Raise your hand.
I mean, we're going to have a Kiddush and Anshei on Shabbos day, so you can't go home and eat a steak and be full.
Right. So Friday night, a lot of communities, Friday night became the main thing. But the Gemara in Psachim is very clear. Kovod Yom, v'Kovod Laila, Kovod Yom Kodem. The COVID of Shabbos, the honor of Shabbos during the day is bigger than the honor of night. What does Rashi says? If you don't have that much wine or special foods, leave them for the day. Or Chashulchan, one of the commentaries in the last couple hundred years, he says, why is the day more important? Because most people have meals during the day, not at night. People get stomach ache if they eat too much after 8 o'clock at night. And also, on Friday, you already ate lunch. I mean, even if you had a small lunch, you had lunch, you're not that hungry. But on Shabbos morning, you build up an appetite, you're really hungry. So it's more of a special meal. Also in the Beis HaMikdash, they had the sacrifices during the day, not at night. The Rosh Surlio on the Jerusalem Talmud is a wonderful commentary. He gives 2 explanations as far as the commentary. He says, because the mitzvah of Oneg Shabbos it says on the Parsha of Man, eat it today, for today is the day of Shabbos. It emphasizes day. The words about the manna from heaven, it emphasizes the word day. Also, there was a special miracle that the man was fresh on Shabbos morning, whereas of course it was fresh on Friday afternoon because it fell on Friday morning. But it was even fresh on Shabbos morning. Maybe that shows how special it is. However, in defense of those who have bigger meals on Friday night than on Shabbos lunch, the Magen Avraham, one of the great commentators on the Code of Jewish Law, very much of a mystic. And he quotes the Zohar, which is unclear, and the Machzor Shekel, the commentary, super commentary on the Magen Avraham, says that scenes from the Zohar against our Talmud, that the night is more important, but still, our Talmud always wins against the Zohar. But the Magen Avraham wanted to mention that no one should make light of Friday night. Some people, the older people, sometimes feel like it's hard to eat at night, so they don't have much of a meal at night. He said, well, don't try to have something. Try to have a nice meal at night. You can start Shabbos early. Right now, I have to give you the exact times, but about 6 o'clock, you can start Shabbos. You can start your meal 6 o'clock. Light the candles, make Kiddush, and start at 6 o'clock. Wouldn't be a problem at this time of year. 6:15. We have to take a look at the exact time. But if you want to make it early, give me a call. But in any event, we try to have. So the Machzor Shekel says, really, the daytime is the more important to have a bigger meal. However, don't forget the night has to be nice as well. The Zohar actually thinks the night is more important. So a lot of people seem to follow that. Now, here's an interesting question. We mentioned that, Debbie mentioned that one of the ideas of honoring Shabbos is to light candles before Shabbos, and then the candles are there for Shabbos. And then you can enjoy the meal more. The idea is that your meal is more enjoyable because you can see your food. You know, and Bluma always prepares a meal. It has something orange, there's something green, there's something white, and it's a beautiful plate. If you can't see it, you don't enjoy it. So that's why we light the candles. The other reason is we shouldn't trip over each other. We shouldn't start fighting with each other. Shalom bayit. But in any event, why is there a bracha for lighting candles? If lighting candles is just to honor of Shabbos, well, my job is to make the beds. Why don't I make a bracha on making the beds? My job is to vacuum the floor. Why don't I make a bracha on vacuuming? Why don't I make a bracha on taking a shower? Not in the bathroom, but before I go in the bathroom, I'll make a bracha and then I'll go take a shower. So why candles? The Rambam emphasizes in chapter 5, right away at the beginning of his laws, they have 30 chapters, and he talks about the honor in the 30th chapter, but he talks about candle lighting in the 5th chapter. It's not just if you want to, you can light candles. No, you have to light candles. What's this business? As a matter of fact, there was a rabbi in the Tosfot, Rabbi Meshulam, he thought, why should you make a bracha on the candles? You don't make a bracha on vacuuming. Why would you make a bracha on the candles? Some Sephardic Jews don't make a bracha on Yontif. They only make a bracha on Shabbos. Why? Because it's not the idea to honor Shabbos. You could vacuum the house. It's also honor of Shabbos. You could just have a beautiful meal, have a nice tablecloth. It's also the honor of Shabbos. Why do we light candles? Only to show the Karaites are wrong. The Karaites also lit candles on Yontif, because on Yontif you're allowed to light flames. So only on Shabbos it says you're not allowed to. So since there was no debate with the Karaites on Yontif, there is an obscure custom among some to not make a bracha on candles on Yontif. But finally, the idea of the importance of anticipation. When we talk about the honor of Shabbos, it means to get ready for Shabbos before Shabbos. Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik, my teacher of blessed memory, said, America has many Sabbath-observant people, Shomer Shabbos, but there's no Erev Shabbos Jews. He didn't think that people in America understood the idea of Erev Shabbos as much as they did in Europe. That going crazy, you walk into a religious community before Shabbos, it's frantic. You go to Machne Yehuda, everyone's getting ready, they're buying things for Shabbos, they're getting ready, they're taking showers, they're going to the mikveh, everyone's going crazy. It's Erev Shabbos. And Rabbi J.J. Schachter brought out that that's what the words Shmira Shabbos, to guard the Shabbos, what does it mean? So usually we say it means keep the Sabbath. It means refrain from doing work on Shabbos. However, as a Rashi on Genesis, it talks about Jacob, who heard the dreams of Joseph. The brothers said, "You're crazy, we're not going to bow down to you. What are you, nuts? We're going to throw you in a pit, we're going to kill you." And Jacob, Shamar Tadavar, he guarded the matter. Like the same word for guarding Shabbos. So Rashi says, no, he didn't guard the matter. He observed, he waited, and he looked forward to the time when the dream would come true. The brothers thought he was, Jacob said, tisk, tisk, you shouldn't have dreams like that. That's not right. We're not going to bow down to you. And in his heart, he was wondering, I wonder when that's going to come true. I can't wait for the day when Joseph is the king and everyone comes to bow down to him because Joseph is so incredible. So he was waiting for it. So what does it mean to show? What does it mean to be a Shomer Shabbos? Someone who's waiting for Shabbos. They're really not interested in the week. They're interested in Shabbos. And as Shammai, great sage in the Talmud, he used every fruit he bought on Sunday, he would say, oh, this would be good for Shabbos. He found the better one on Monday. He'd say, oh, this is for Shabbos. And Friday, he found the best one. He said, oh, this is for Shabbos. He was getting ready from Sunday to get ready for Shabbos. The anticipation is what it's all about. So if we ask, in essence, what is Kovod Shabbos? What is Kovod Shabbos? Kovod Shabbos is to prepare for Shabbos, to get ready for Shabbos. And these days we're getting ready because we're becoming experts in staying in our homes and getting ready for Shabbos. And we have an opportunity to honor the Shabbos in a true and a pure way nowadays, especially if you're alone, to take a hot shower and a bath and put on special clothes. No one's there, just you, to honor the Shabbos. Set your table, put in the tablecloth, set the silverware, put your Kiddush cup, your candles, and honor the Shabbos, even though no one's looking. That's the honor of Shabbos. That's true faith in God, belief in God. We can express that today during these COVID times, these times in isolation, even more than ever. We can express the honor of Shabbos. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And I'll open it up now if anybody has any questions or comments.
Maybe we should have steak and Anshei for lunch.
Right, it's a problem. We've gotten used to having these kiddushes and shul, and sometimes, it's not the biggest kiddush, and we kind of make lunch out of it. It's a little bit of a question. Yeah, ideally, yeah. It's wonderful in terms of community. If everyone enjoys together, we sit together. It does lose something in terms of the honor of Shabbos. It's true. It's a challenge. That's true.
I'm
You have
just
to have more sponsors. That's all. Sorry?
I don't think so.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Debbie?
I said, I don't think so. I think it's a special way of celebrating Shabbos to be with your community, with your friends, to have lunch together like that. But I wonder about the clothing. I don't know, somehow I lost the picture. I'm glad you can hear me. The clothing, there was a period in the 70s and 60s and 70s when people thought it was very pretentious to have to put on good clothing, that you are who you are no matter what you're wearing, that we have to respect and honor people no matter what they're wearing, that a person is a person and we don't judge them by their clothing.
Right. So it depends, right? There's a point, there's a border. There's a point at which you're not wearing it to honor Shabbos. You're wearing it to show that you could afford a Brooks Brothers suit and the other guy can't. People in my shul, it was outrageous. People used to come from Paris to buy something for Shabbos. And they were really showing off their wealth. So that's
Right.
true. And in Israel, they have it right. Everyone wears a beautiful, nice, clean white shirt. That could also be the honor of Shabbos. No other day. In Israel, you never caught dead with a white shirt during the week, unless you're Haredi. You wear a colored shirt, you wear a plaid shirt. My Rebbes would wear a plaid shirt during the week. Shabbos, white shirt. So it doesn't have to be fancy, but it has to be different, special for Shabbos, and clean, new, fresh, different. But you're right. There's definitely, you can get carried away in many Orthodox communities because there's a mitzvah of honoring Shabbos, because they very much appreciate that. They got carried away and it became a clothing competition. So it's very true. And yeah, I mean, on the one hand, the rabbi said, my honor is my clothes. But on the other hand, obviously, no, the honor comes from inside. It's not from your clothes. So it's interesting. You have to think about what that rabbi meant. But
Yeah, the honor comes from what you're doing. And that's why I think you can't really judge honor either. It's an
in many ways,
individual
reflects
thing.
that. Israel
A person
Israel's,
might really feel that honoring the Shabbos is not working, and observing the Sabbath with things like electricity and TV and so forth, changing their day of observance is their way of honoring the Sabbath. And it doesn't matter the clothes you're wearing, And what you're saying, Rabbi, is correct. If it's to outdress someone or to have a fancier outfit, it makes other people feel bad. You shouldn't do that either. Okay, that's all.
that's right. You can argue with it a little bit. You could say, if I am a millionaire, then for me to wear a Macy's suit for $200 is not an honor of Shabbos. For me, I'd be expected to wear Brooks Brothers. Otherwise, that wouldn't, on Tuesday, I have to. So, it's a debatable point, but then you have to think about what are the ramifications. How does that make the other guy feel? And there are women who are ashamed to go to certain shuls in this country because they don't have fancy enough clothes. And that's a shame. On the good side, shuls like that do understand what honoring Shabbos is, but there's a negative side, and it's a very strong negative side as well.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Thank you very much.
But I think what Debbie was saying.
What is it? I'm gone.
The food may not be that great, but the community of it, you have to go? Okay. The community of it is so beautiful that's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is I'm eating lunch with 50 of my closest friends. And that's the beauty of it, even though all it is, some salad and some different things. So that's an arguable point as well.
Right.
I
I'm
would
sorry,
say,
David, did I interrupt you?
I don't know. I didn't mean to interrupt either, but I
I
would
can't hear
say
you, David.
I actually have been thinking about it, and the lunches we have at Anshei are often, to me, even better than having steak. So, I mean, we've had some really good lunches there.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. Sometimes it's beautiful Kiddush. That's true. We don't want to make light of Anshei Kiddush. Very often it's quite spectacular. That's true. What else? Debbie, did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
Did you say something? Did I miss something?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, in any event, so this Shabbos, I'm trying to put out some extra materials about honoring Shabbos and things we can do, and how to have Shabbos under these very strange circumstances. But I think it provides a challenge, but also an opportunity as well. And we will have a Parsha class this Thursday at 11:30, and we've got our Tuesday night class at 8 o'clock on Book of Ruth. Every night we learn at 7, Talmud, 7:45 is the Mishnayos, Memory of Loved Ones. All right. So thanks for joining us. Next week we'll have a special program for Lag BaOmer. Also, stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on that as well.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Great day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Good to see everybody. Have a good day. And thank you again, Rabbi. And
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Is that Elaine?
Yes,
Oh, yes. Glad you joined us. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Okay.